Good morning, Year 4. It's Mrs. Cafrello here with your literacy lesson for Thursday, the 4th of February. Okay, so if you want to open your literacy book onto your next clean page and write today's date at the top, Thursday, the 4th of February 2021. Our learning objective today is to edit and improve. Then I want you to leave a line and put your subheading Scag. So if you want to pause the video, you can do that now. In Scag today, we're going to be looking again at commas in lists, okay? So I know that we've done this and we're getting quite good at it, but we're going through it again today because I want you to make sure that you've got at least one list in your campaign and you can separate them using commas. The commas are there to separate the items so that the reader can take a pause, okay? So let's take a look at an example. So this sentence says, we went to the zoo and saw monkeys, tigers, giraffes and crocodiles, okay? It's a bit of a mouthful to say there's no commas in there, so there's no pauses for the reader, okay? However, if we put our commas in there, the reader can read it much slower. We went to the zoo and saw monkeys, tigers, giraffes and crocodiles. Okay, so the commas made sure that I had chance to take a pause so that I'm not reading it all in one go. Monkeys, tigers, giraffes and crocodiles. Okay, remember you don't need a comma before the and, okay, because and gives the reader a chance to take a natural pause. So for task 1 today, you're going to see if you can complete these sentences with a list. And I want you to remember that your commas are going to be in the list to separate the items in your list. Okay? Remember, you won't need a comma before the and at the end, just in between the other items in the list. So Mild says, at the zoo, animals have. Okay, so what do animals have at the zoo? What can you put in your list there? Spicy says, in the wild, animals have. What do animals have in the wild that you can make a list out of? See if you can fit in some adjectives as well. Okay. Hot. Zookeepers often provide. So think of a list of things that zookeepers provide. So you can choose mild, spicy or hot. Don't forget your commas to separate the items, so you can pause the video now and have a go. Okay, let's take a look. So mild. At the zoo, animals have. What do animals have in the zoo? So they have special enclosures, comma, because that's my first item in the list, so I'm going to separate it with a comma. At the zoo, animals have special enclosures, lots of food, and, so I don't need a comma there, and other animals to play with. Okay? So I'm talking about the positives of the zoo there, and I've got in a list separated with commas, and I'm hoping that today you can go back over your campaign and try and do the same. Okay, let's have a look at spicy then. In the wild animals house, what do animals have in the wild? Animals have their families, lots of space and the opportunity to hunt for food. So a list of things that they've got in the wild. They've got their families, comma, lots of space and the opportunity to hunt for food. Let's have a look at hot then. Zookeepers often provide. So what do zookeepers provide for the animals? Let's have a think about what we can put in our list. So they provide medical care, comma, food, I'm going to put nutritious food, Make it sound a bit more exciting. So zookeepers often provide medical care, comma, nutritious food and attention for the animals. So they give them lots of care and attention. Okay, so those are some examples of what you could have had for your task 1 today. Your book should now look like this with your list written out, and if you've remembered to put your commas in the right place, give yourself a tick. Okay, let's take a look at task 2. So for task 2 today, I want you to pause the video and have a look at this map. And this is a map of London Zoo. Okay, I want you to think of your own sentence which uses commas in a list. I've put some sentence starters here to help you. When we visited London Zoo, we saw. So you could list items that you saw at London Zoo. So have a look at the map to help you think of some ideas. When I go to London Zoo, I can't wait to see. And again, you could have a list of what you'd like to see if you visited London Zoo. Or you can use this sentence starter. London Zoo has, and then list what London Zoo has. Don't forget your commas to separate the items in your list. Okay, so I want you to pause the video now so you can have a good look at the map and then write me your own sentence. Off you go. Okay, so when you've done that, let's have a look. The example I've done is this. London Zoo has a penguin beach, an aquarium, an amphitheatre and a reptile house. So I've got 4 items in my list, which means that I need 2 commas. I need one here separating penguin beach and an aquarium, and then one here separating an aquarium and an amphitheatre. Then I've got and, remember I don't need a comma here, a reptile house. So I'm going to give myself a tick because I've remembered to put my commas in the correct place. Make sure that you give yourself a tick too if you think that you've done that right. So we've written our campaign now, and today we're going to just go back and see if we can edit and improve it. Okay, so our task today is this. So use the sheet in your pack to help you. So if you are choosing to do mild, you can underline 5 adjectives, okay? Or words that you can change or add adjectives in. Can you make your sentences sound a little bit more exciting, okay? Check that you have capital letters at the beginning of each sentence and for proper nouns. If you've done a quote of somebody, make sure their name has a capital letter, okay? Check that you've used full stops or question marks. If you've managed to fit a question in there, make sure you've used your question marks in the correct place. Then I want you to underline 5 words that you think you might have spelled wrong. Then if you go on the internet, you can type in dictionary.com and check the spellings. If you've spelt them wrong, write them out at the bottom of your page. For spicy, I want you to go back through your campaign and check your capital letters, adjectives. If you've not got many adjectives in there, make sure you put some more in there. Your punctuation, have you got your commas in? If you've got a list, have you put full stops at the end of every sentence or a question mark if it's a question? Have you managed to include an exclamation mark? That's brilliant. If you have, make sure you've got it in there. Check your spelling. Just like for mild, I want you to go through and underline any words that you think might have spelt wrong and then use dictionary.com to help you find the right spelling. Make sure that you've put an introduction in, an argument for, an argument against, and the conclusion that we did yesterday. If you've not already, I want you to see if you can fit in a quote from somebody. Remember, these can be made up. A rhetorical question. Did you know? Give them a fact. Can you believe? Okay. Don't forget your question marks on the end. and an explanation of your ideas. Have you explained to the reader enough why you think that way about your campaign? Okay. I want Hot to do all this as well, but I want you to make sure that you can see if you can add anything that will help the reader agree with you. You need to be using emotive language to help the reader understand how strongly you feel about this subject. Okay? Read your campaign to somebody in your house and see if you can ask for their opinion. What do they think about your campaign? Is there anything in there that you could add that might have made the person you're reading it to think more strongly about it? Okay, so let's have a look at an example of editing and improving. You're going to use your blue pen today to do this. So go back in your book, reread your work, and have a look what you think. So this is an example I've got. So my first sentence says, I think that animals should live in their natural habitat. Okay? Straight away I can see something wrong. What do I need at the beginning of my sentence? I need a capital letter. Okay? I is always a capital letter anyway, isn't it? But definitely at the start of my sentence. And then natural looks like it's spelt wrong to me, so I'm going to underline that so I can look it up later, see if I can find the correct spelling. The natural habitat is better for them. Okay, so natural is spelt wrong again. I'm going to put a star here because I want to add a little bit more information. So I'm going to put a star and a star down here, okay? Because I've said that the natural habitat is better for them, but I've not explained why. So next to my star at the bottom, I'm just going to do a little bit of an explanation. I'm going to use this conjunction because to expand my sentence. The natural habitat is better for them because they can stay with their families and hunt for their own food. Okay, so I'm putting in more of my opinions there, explaining to the reader why I think that. So I'm not just saying that the natural habitat is better for them, I'm telling my reader why I think that. Okay, some animals don't like living in a cage because it is mean. Okay, so I've got my conjunction in this sentence, so that's good. I've missed out my apostrophe here for my contraction, so it's do not. I'm linking two words together, so I need my apostrophe for my missing letter. So some animals don't like living in a cage because it is mean. I wonder if I can think of a different word for mean. So I'm going to put a star here, see if I can think of a different word for mean. Okay, so I've put a star next to mean and I've put a star down here because I'm going to change mean. And I think I'll use the word cruel. Okay, that sounds better. So I'm going to change mean to cruel when it comes to writing up my campaign. Animals in captivity are sometimes sad. Okay, so again, I think I'm going to change sad. I think I can think of a better word instead of sad. So I've done my little star, so I know to come down here. I'm going to just write it down here to remind myself that I'm going to change sad to heartbroken. That sounds much more emotional for my reader. Okay, did you know that species can still die out in captivity? This is a question, but I've only got a full stop at the end, so I'm going to put in a question mark here to remind myself. A zookeeper at Portland Zoo, Jack Sanders. So these are both proper nouns. Portland Zoo is the name of a zoo, so I will need a capital letter. And Jack Sanders is the name of a person, so that also needs a capital letter. So you can pause this video now and see if you can correct any more of my example here. And then I want you to use your blue pen and go back over your campaign and see how you can make it even better. Good luck, guys. See you later.